blind date disaster? Single dad met his late wife's lookalike, what happened next? Some moments change your life quietly. Not with fireworks or loud music, but with a single glance that makes your heart stop for half a second. For Mark Reynolds, that moment happened on a rainy Tuesday night, sitting across from a woman he was never supposed to meet. He thought it was just another blind date. He had no idea it would reopen old wounds, test his courage, and remind him that kindness can show up in the most unexpected ways. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional, real-life inspired stories that remind you of the good in people, please subscribe, like, and comment below. This channel is Heartfelt Moments, and your support helps us keep sharing stories that matter. Mark Reynolds was a 38-year-old single dad living in a quiet Ohio town. His life revolved around two things: his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and his job as a delivery manager at a local warehouse. He wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't whole either. 3 years earlier, Mark had lost his wife, Emily, to a sudden illness. One day she was laughing in the kitchen, teasing him about burning toast. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Since then, Mark had learned how to survive, but not how to move on. Lily tried to help in her own way. She'd leave little notes in his lunchbox that said, "Daddy, you're doing great," written in crooked letters. Mark kept every single one. Dating wasn't something he wanted. But his sister, Jenna, thought otherwise. She believed Mark deserved happiness again, even if he didn't believe it himself. "She's nice," Jenna said on the phone one night. "Just coffee. No pressure." Mark agreed, mostly to stop the conversation. The cafe was warm and softly lit, the kind of place people went to talk about dreams and plans. Mark arrived early, nervous and unsure why his hands were shaking. Then she walked in. Her name was Sarah. The moment Mark looked up, his breath caught in his throat. Same soft brown hair. Same gentle eyes. Even the way she tucked her hair behind her ear was painfully familiar. She looked like Emily. Not exactly, but close enough that it felt like the past had walked straight back into his life. Sarah smiled politely and walked over. "Mark?" He stood up too quickly and knocked his chair back. "Yeah. Hi. I'm Mark." They sat down, and the silence stretched longer than it should have. Mark couldn't stop staring. His mind raced, memories crashing into each other. He felt guilty, confused, and overwhelmed all at once. Finally, Sarah spoke. "I'm guessing you weren't expecting this." Mark swallowed. "I'm sorry. You remind me of someone." She nodded gently. "Your wife." The word hit him hard. He hadn't said it, but somehow she knew. "She passed away," Sarah said softly. "I'm really sorry." Mark looked down at his coffee. "I don't think I'm ready for this." This was a mistake. He expected her to be offended. Embarrassed. Maybe even angry. Instead, Sarah smiled with kindness. "Thank you for being honest," she said. "That takes courage." She didn't storm out. She didn't make it awkward. She simply asked if he'd like to talk, just as two people, no expectations. And for the first time that night, Mark nodded. They talked about small things at first. Work. Favorite movies. Bad coffee. Slowly, Mark relaxed. Sarah listened without interrupting, without trying to fix him. When he mentioned Lily, her eyes lit up. "I volunteer at an after-school reading program," she said. "Kids are amazing. They teach us more than we teach them." Mark found himself opening up. He told her about losing Emily. About the nights he sat in the dark after Lily fell asleep. About the fear that moving forward meant forgetting. Sarah listened quietly. When he finished, she said something that stayed with him. "Kindness doesn't replace love," she said. "It carries it forward." The date ended without romance, without promises. Just a warm goodbye and a simple, "I'm glad we met." Mark went home feeling lighter, even though nothing had changed. A week later, Lily came home from school upset. She was struggling with reading and felt embarrassed in class. Mark tried to help, but frustration filled the room. Then he remembered Sarah. He hesitated, then sent a short message, thanking her again and mentioning Lily's trouble. Sarah responded almost instantly. "If you'd like," she wrote, "I could help. No pressure." That Saturday, Sarah came over with a stack of children's books and a warm smile. Lily was shy at first, but Sarah knelt down to her level and asked about her favorite animals. Within minutes, Lily was laughing. They read together at the kitchen table. No judgment. No rush. Just patience and encouragement. After Sarah left, Lily hugged Mark tightly. "She's really kind, Daddy." Mark nodded, his throat tight. "Yeah. She is." Over the next few months, Sarah became part of their lives in small, gentle ways. Helping Lily with reading. Bringing over soup when Mark had a long week. Remembering Emily without trying to replace her. One evening, Lily asked a question Mark hadn't expected. "Daddy, is it okay to miss Mommy and still be happy?" Mark took a deep breath. "Yes, sweetheart. It's more than okay." Later that night, Mark realized something important. Kindness hadn't erased his pain. It had softened it. It had given him room to breathe again. Sarah wasn't Emily. She wasn't meant to be. She was someone new, someone who showed him that love doesn't have to rush or demand. Sometimes, it just sits beside you and waits. Months later, Mark and Sarah sat on the porch watching Lily ride her bike. Mark reached for Sarah's hand, unsure but hopeful. "Thank you," he said. "For your patience. For your kindness." Sarah squeezed his hand. "We all carry something. Kindness just helps us carry it better." This wasn't a love story about replacing the past. It was a story about honoring it, while still choosing to move forward. And sometimes, the greatest acts of kindness are the quiet ones, the ones that don't ask for anything in return, but change everything anyway. If this story touched your heart, remember this: your kindness might be someone else's turning point. A smile. A listening ear. A little patience. You never know whose life you might gently change.